When mosquitoes reach a certain number, they can even drain a wolf pup's blood dry. No matter how the pup struggles or tries to hide, it cannot escape the swarm's attack. In the Arctic Circle, summer has no night, and the mosquitoes breed at a terrifying speed in the endless daylight, multiplying into countless swarms. They arrive like thunder. They never tire, never retreat, and relentlessly search for prey. No matter how well a wolf hides, they will find it swarming into its fur and skin. They slowly drain its blood. For newborn pups, the buzzing is like an inescapable threat of life and death. That day, when I returned, I saw from afar dense clouds of mosquitoes swirling above our cave. I knew this place was no longer suitable for survival. I didn't hesitate. I immediately decided to take my pups and leave. Our destination was an old den 8 kilometers away. The wilderness was vast. The wind howled bitterly. My pups were still so young, not even weaned, but I had no choice. Only by leaving could they survive. I ran across the wilderness with several pups. After 3 kilometers, the weakest one collapsed. Its legs gave out and it fell onto the ground. He was too young. In the end, he couldn't keep up. But in this barren wilderness, there was nowhere to hide. I looked around and finally found an abandoned hunter's den. I gently comforted him, telling him to wait. After settling him inside, I immediately turned back and continued forward with the rest of the pups. A few hours later, we reached the old den. The air here was much fresher, with fewer mosquitoes, and even carried a faint scent of grass. I thought I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But after settling the pups one by one, I didn't realize I had left one behind. I went out hunting. When the wolf mother returned with the pack and stood before the empty den, she let out a long howl. There was no response. It wasn't blame, it was the heartbreak of a mother losing her child. She circled around and immediately set off again. She knew we had migrated, and she knew where to go. But when she reached the new den and reunited with the pups, she didn't see the smallest one. She said nothing, only lifted her head and looked into the distance, then lowered it to sniff the ground. Wolves are known for unity. A pup's disappearance is the concern. She entrusted the pups to an older female and set out alone to search. Meanwhile, the left-behind pup curled up inside the old den. He didn't dare step outside. Only when the sunlight dimmed would he let out a faint howl, like talking in his sleep. He couldn't tell direction, nor did he know where to go. All he could do was wait for a mother willing to come back. The winds of the wilderness tear everything apart. His tiny voice was quickly carried away. But there truly seems to be a bond between mother and child. On the morning of the 3rd day, the wolf mother suddenly changed direction and entered a hidden canyon. She said nothing, just turned as if summoned by something unseen. Called back, and at that exact moment, the pup also seemed to make up his mind. He crawled out of the den and climbed toward the canyon, letting out the loudest howl of his life. The sound struck the cliff walls, amplified by the canyon like destiny's echo, torn through the wind and reached his mother's ears. The wolf mother jerked her head up and ran toward it. After a few short echoes, 2 figures finally reunited on the endless wilderness. The pup staggered forward, stumbling back into his mother's embrace. She lowered her head, gently licking his forehead, softly as if comforting, and scolding him at the same time. But this was not the end. She still had to bring him across kilometers of wilderness to rejoin the pack. As they hurried forward. On the other side of the grassland, the pack encountered its old enemy, a herd of musk oxen. This age-old battle has continued since the Ice Age. The wolves locked onto a calf still nursing. They split up, causing chaos, while the musk oxen did not panic. Instead, they quickly formed a defensive circle, placing the weakest calf in the center. The wolves tried to break the formation, but the musk oxen were not careless. Every adult muskox used its body and legs as a fortress. It was a contest of patience and strategy. Seeing the ambush fail, the wolves intended to retreat at first. But then, an elderly muskox fell behind. This time, the wolves seized the chance, attacking in turns, slowly wearing down its strength. Arctic wolves do not rely on a killing blow, but on endurance and teamwork. After several hours, the old muskox collapsed. Silence returned to the wilderness. At that moment, the wolf mother arrived with a long-lost pup. The other pups followed, just in time to see the wolves' fresh kill. No one mentioned the distance they had traveled. The pups gathered around the prey, biting into the fresh meat, while the father watched them, his eyes full of peace. Perhaps he still didn't realize he had almost lost a child. The Arctic wilderness is never merciful. Never. But in this frozen land, the wolves' unity and the mother's determination become the hope that sustains life. It shows us that resilience exists not only in flesh and blood, but also in the unseen bonds, a mother's call, a pack's guardianship. Perhaps it is these faint lights that teach us to respect nature, to bow before fate, look up, and keep moving forward. Continue.